So, hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Just real quick, I had a few people just, personally ask me if I'm excited about, the state of Star Wars and, the new movies that were announced, last week on Star Wars Celebration. And I thought about it for a while because I couldn't come up with how I really felt. And the way I really feel now is I want to be excited. I want to be excited so bad, but I can't. The same way that I want to be excited that my Raiders are going to go to the playoffs this year and win the Super Bowl, but there's only so many times you can be let down. So I thought that real quick, I would just kind of break it down of why I am not excited, okay? Doesn't mean that there's no hope at all, but let me break it down for you. So, 2012, around 2012, I believe it was, Lucasfilms gets sold to Disney, right? They announced that Disney is going to do episode 7, 8, 9, and that they're also going to do a Star Wars movie every year. I get excited. I'm like, George Lucas's storytelling and universe with Disney resources. I mean, how can you lose, right? How can that go wrong? I mean, and so I'm excited, and then all of a sudden, you start hearing different rumors about stuff. At first, I think I'm gonna, that you're gonna get Jason and Jenna Solo and all the stuff from the books and all that. But then Disney says, "Oh no, that's all legends. That's a different universe or whatever they're calling it. Or basically, whatever's in the movies and stuff, and going on forward is what's canon." So I'm like, okay, that's fine, But so then I, fast forward a little bit, now I'm going to get some things chronologically wrong because I'm old and I just forget things. So fast forward it a little bit, maybe about a year or so. Then they release, J.J. Abrams releases the title for episode 7, The Force Awakens. Now, I get excited just because I'm getting a brand new movie. I'm kind of blinded. But people think that over the years, Star Wars just started becoming, really, out in left field. But they actually told us from the very beginning where they are taking Star Wars. We just didn't see it. There's a few people I will give credit that did see it, like that Star Wars girl, and I think Geeks and Gamers also were kind of, seeing the signs. But most of us, it was right in front of us, and we didn't see it. The Force Awakens. When something awakens, what are they? Woke. They are woke. So they told you from the very beginning, the Force is going woke. And we all ignored it. Because back then, 2012, that wasn't a big thing. It was kind of, starting to a little bit, maybe 2013, 2000, that, but they knew where they were taking it, and they were showing us right from the very beginning, and we did not see it coming. But so anyway, The Force Awakens comes out. Overall, I like it. It's cut and paste. It's basically a reboot. Exactly what J.J. Abrams is known to do. Cut and paste something. Nothing original. Maybe a few cool original characters. But we kind of ignore it. Kind of what Creed 1 did is that, Creed is basically a copy of Rocky. But it sets it up for, the next sequels and stuff to be, something authentic. So we kind of give it a pass, kind of Ghostbusters Afterlife. I loved Ghostbusters Afterlife, but same thing, reboot, copy and paste on a lot of things. But we know that the next one we're going to get is going to be a new, exciting, story. So that's what we were doing, is we were kind of, or at least me, I was giving The Force Awakens a pass because I'm like, episode 8 and 9 are going to be so awesome and so different. But, and then Rian Johnson comes along. I don't want to rehash a lot of things, but I actually think Rian Johnson's a fantastic writer and director. I think that the problem with that is they didn't give him boundaries. They let him do whatever he wanted. They should have said, okay, Rian, you can do whatever you want. But you have to stay within his boundaries. You can't mess with Luke. You can't do this and that. But within that, you can tell your story. Okay, and then also, you would think that from the very beginning, like the way Lucas didn't have all of it outlined, but he knew where he was going towards the end or had an idea. Okay, so we kind of thought, after The Force Awakens for 2 years, we're debating who Rey is and who Snoke is. And we're thinking like, oh, they have that already nailed, right? There's little things that you can study in The Force Awakens and see, maybe we could figure it out, kind of like a Scream movie when you go back and you watch it and you're like, oh, look at that. If I would have realized that, then I could have figured out who the killer was. So we're thinking, so all of us are watching The Force Awakens over and over again for 2 years, not realizing that they don't have a plan. They don't. Instead, J.J. Abrams was more concerned about making sure that there was a female lead, which I didn't have a problem with, because, at all, as long as it was good. I think Daisy Ridley's a great actress, and I like the character of Rey, for the most part. And then also make sure that, all the woke boxes are checked. So let's throw story out of the way. Let's move, the ending and all that stuff that is more important. But right now, let's just make sure that we appease the woke, the left, and stuff. So, okay. So that comes out. There were certain things in The Last Jedi I actually kind of liked. I didn't like Luke's arc, and I thought Canto Bight was terrible. But there was some things that I'm like, wow, like the throne room scene at the end of, Luke meditating and be able to peer, galaxies away and take on Kylo Ren, although, and stuff like that. I thought was really good. Okay. So, but that split the fans. I mean, fans were just going crazy, and rightfully so. I can understand that. But then you would think that Disney would learn its lesson. So around that time, I can't remember if it was before The Last Jedi. No, it had to have been after The Last Jedi. They decided that, they're going to issue in a new era in Star Wars called the High Republic. Okay? And then so what they did is they got all these writers together. Claudia Gray, who did the Lost Stars, I think it's called, and it's supposed to be a fantastic book. And it seems that she understands Star Wars. So they got all these other, top writers and act and stuff in a room, and they were showing behind the scenes of where they were meeting together to discuss where they're going to take this, what's important to them. And here is a picture of the actual board that was in the meeting room, okay, of outlining of where they wanted to go. Now notice, it says nothing about plot, character development, nothing along the lines of what it takes to make a good movie. Instead, what is underlined? Notice the top things and what's underlined? Diversity. Not pro-war. Stuff like that. But you see nothing of character development or anything like that. So I knew right away when I saw that this was going to be crap. I knew that this was going to be hot garbage. And sure enough, it came out and it was just terrible. I mean, how many Star Wars fans do you hear talking about the High Republic? And they've had books come out, I believe. They've had, comic books. And there's some people that buy them. But, right now the hottest, for the last few years has been The Mandalorian and a few other things. But the High Republic is garbage. And you can see just based off that board that they didn't learn their lesson. So I'm thinking they had to have learned their lesson. And they come out with The Mandalorian. And The Mandalorian is fantastic. I'm thinking Star Wars is saved. They got Dave Filoni, who is Lucas's right-hand man. They have Jon Favreau, and I'm thinking like, okay, this is finally showing me signs. Star Wars is done with that. They learned their lesson. Kathleen Kennedy, realized that this was done wrong and they're righting the wrong and all that. So Mandalorian comes out, it's great. Rise of Skywalker comes out, and it is a terrible crap show. J.J. Abrams basically ignores episode 8 and decides that he's going to act like that didn't even happen. And, that I don't want to get into Rise of Skywalker, but it's the worst Star Wars movie ever made, in my opinion. It's whatever. I'm done with Star Wars movies. I'm thinking to myself, I have The Mandalorian. I have, the Book of Boba Fett's coming out. And then, just real quick, Book of Boba Fett was horrible, except for the 2 episodes with the Mandalorian and Grogu, which should have been actually the first 2 episodes of Mandalorian season 3. Should have never been in the Book of Boba Fett, and Book of Boba Fett should have never been made. Anyway, okay, and then of course there's Solo and all that, but we all know about that, and so then fast forward, And then I'm thinking, and then they keep, having, Kathleen Kennedy keeps trying to force her agenda in it. Having Patty Jenkins, and they announced that she's doing Rogue Squadron. They have this little promo on it that looks pretty cool. And I'm like, it's, Patty Jenkins, whatever, I mean, not because she's a woman or anything. It's just that she's come out with maybe one good movie, Wonder Woman. The rest have been okay, and let me just say that I don't care if a woman directs all of the next Star Wars, because my favorite director right now who does the Star Wars things is Bryce Dallas Howard. I think she's the best one right now. Matter of fact, I hope she gets a movie. I hope she gets the next few movies. I hope she gets a trilogy. But anyway, okay. So anyway, we keep getting this. There's Kevin Feige's having a movie. Ryan Johnson's doing a trilogy, all that, and people keep getting fired. Kathleen Kennedy supposedly butt heads with them, and maybe they're not going as woke as she wants. Who knows? Then we have there's a bunch of other stuff, but then to jump over to Celebration that just happened is Celebration comes out, and then I'm getting excited, and most people were upset that they were saying that they were coming out with a new movie with Rey, 15 years later, and Rey is leading a new Jedi Order, and the Jedi Order's in disarray, and this and that. I'm kind of excited, and so I'm like, okay, maybe they realize that this is their way of kind of making Episode 9 without calling it Episode 9, and they'll make it pretty epic. Then they start announcing other things like the Acolyte, which we've heard before, but it's already been filming. It's everything that. Then when my optimism is starting to get kind of high, we hear things like this.
I mean, the best parts about Star Wars is there is no good or evil. It depends on what side you're standing on, truly. You know what I mean? That you can look at any angle and see yourself relayed through all the characters, Darth to Luke. You know what I'm saying?
What are you talking about, Willis?
So obviously, you don't have to know everything about Star Wars to be an actor in Star Wars. But the problem is that you hear somebody who just got done filming a Star Wars series and saying a quote like that. So that tells me that reflects on what he just filmed. Because if it didn't, he wouldn't be saying things like that. Now, yes, we can all relate to people like Anakin who struggle, this and that. But clearly, you're telling me that there's no such good or bad. So killing younglings is not bad. Slaughtering Jedi across the universe is not bad. Force choking people because at work. I mean, anyway. So so when you hear things like that, it just like, oh my gosh. And then we had the straw that broke the camel's back.
So my character, she's a powerful leader in a very woman-centered world, which Star Wars is very like patriarchal, so it was sort of woman-centered figure.
And when I hear that, just for all my old school friends, this is what I think about it.
But they all just whack.
So, anyway, does that mean that I won't watch The Acolyte? No, of course I'm going to watch The Acolyte, and I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to give most of these things a chance. I mean, there's certain ones I just don't care for. I don't care for The Bad Batch. I don't care for Visions. I haven't heard anything bad about them, to be honest with you. It's just certain things I don't care about, but I'll give The Acolyte a chance. I'll, hopefully they are learning their lesson on certain things. But to be honest with you, unless it has Dave Filoni overlooking it, I don't have any excitement or any optimism for it. Even Jon Favreau is starting to. I'm starting to like lose a little faith in him because of some of the things of Mandalorian and because of the Book of Boba Fett. But he's still overall is pretty good. But anyway, so at the end of the day, am I excited about Star Wars and the future of it? I want to be so bad. And have I lost all hope? No. Will I watch The Acolyte and certain things that come out? Yes. But I don't hold on any hope. I'm kind of like Princess Leia, Help me, Dave Filoni. You're our only hope.